Good morning, Year 6. Welcome back to your Wednesday's English lesson. Hopefully yesterday you enjoyed doing your artwork based around the book and the soldier. I'm really looking forward to checking through everybody's work because the ones I've seen so far have been brilliant. Really impressed. Today is the chance now for us to move forward a little bit with our story of the Silver Donkey. And I'd like you to think straight away, please, about the word that you can see on the board in the little black box, if you like, desertion. You need to remember what that word means and have a think about what it might mean during this lesson. Okay, and also the question in red up at the top that says, why would the soldier have been so keen to keep his presence a secret? So I'm just going to put this onto a presentation so it's a bit bigger for you all to see. Okay, and I'd like you to just have a little think about that question and the word in the black box to start this lesson, and you will come back to it towards the end of the lesson as well, but I'm mainly here today to read the next part of the story to you. So let's have a little look. We're moving on to the second chapter of The Silver Donkey, and the second chapter is titled Monsieur Shepherd. Okay, and please follow from the screen or read it to yourself. You can mute me if you don't want to listen and you prefer to just read it yourself. That's absolutely fine. But also for some of you, you might prefer to hear it and not have to do all the reading, but I'd still like you to follow. So, Monsieur Shepherd. Who's there? Cried the man, and then repeated it in a language that the sisters understood. Qui est là? Who's there? He looked towards Marcel and Coco and must have seen two skinny, flash-eyed little girls, wild as kittens, born under stables, the taller dressed in her brother's hand-me-downs, the smaller rumpled as a street urchin. But then he looked to the mouldery soil and up into the trees and behind himself towards the distant sea. He searched about frantically, as if the sisters were fleet butterflies and could alight anywhere. He scrambled backwards in the dirt, covering his knees in mud. Who is there? He asked again. Marcel and Coco stared. They had never met someone so frightened of them. They felt regretful and sorry for him. It's just us, said Marcel. No one else? The man stopped scrabbling and became very still. He gazed towards a wood pigeon who perched above Marcel's head. I can't see you, he said nervously. I'm blind. Who are you? That the man was blind was some compensation for his not being dead. Pascal had never found or even met a blind man. The girls, emboldened, peered more closely at their discovery, stepping from the shadows like fawns. They saw that the man had untidy brown hair and that his face was rather dirty. Coco, who had a sparrow's quick eyes, saw that he held something silver and enticing in his palm, something that twinkled and glimmered. Marcel saw that, although he wore tatty old man's clothes, the man himself was not very old. In fact, he was young as someone of the fishermen's sons who raced small skiffs in the bay. His blue eyes shone and his cheeks were smudged with downy whiskers that the girl's father called baby fluff. I'm Marcel, she told him. I'm 10, and this is my sister Coco. She's 8. Her real name was Therese, but everybody calls her Coco's. Because I have hair like a black poodle's, Coco explained. Marcel felt compelled to expand on this. When I was little, and Coco was a baby and she had curly hair like a poodle's, Madame Coubert at the end of the road had a tiny black poodle named Coco, so that was the name I gave Therese, Coco. I see, said the man, huddling against a tree. And Coco, the poodle, got stolen, added Coco. Yes, she did. She got stolen. Everyone said Mademoiselle Bloom took her. Coco, the poodle, I mean, because Coco disappeared exactly on the day that Mademoiselle Bloom went to live in Paris. And she was always fond of Coco, the poodle, I mean. So everyone said that Mademoiselle Bloom was to blame. But that was a long time ago. When I was a baby, said Coco, Coco would be old now, the dog. And now Madame Coubert doesn't have a dog at all, said Marcel. Not a poodle or a bulldog or a dachshund or anything. She says her heart is broken for Coco. But everyone still calls me Coco, Coco pointed out. Except when you're naughty or when something is very serious, her sister reminded her. Then we call you Therese. Yes, admitted the little girl. When I am in trouble, I'm Therese. The young man turned his head from one sister to the other, following the voices as if they were birds. He wondered what to say. That's a sad story about the dog. Yes, it is, agreed Marcel. Do you still have hair like a poodle's, Coco? Oh, yes. The man nodded thoughtfully. Then I know what it looks like, even though I can't see it. Coco smiled deeply and tugged at a ringlet. She was insufferably proud of her hair. What are you doing here anyway? Asked Marcel, wishing to change the subject. A frown crossed the man's face. I'm trying to go home. My brother is very ill. He's only 11 years old. His name is John. The doctors don't think he has long to live. My mother wrote saying that he wakes at night with a fever, calling out for me. She wrote that I should hurry home. Marcel and Coco were soft-hearted, and the man's words caused their hearts to pang. Where is your home? Asked Marcel. The man twisted on his knees and pointed in the direction of the sea. Across the channel, up the beach. Climb a narrow path between the rocks and walk 3 miles down a chalky road. When you reach a 5-railed gate bordered on each side by oaks as big as churches, that's my home. You can see the chimneys from the road. John's window is on the ground floor, 3rd from the right. Marcel considered. She knew that the channel was very wide and could be choppy and dangerous. She knew that 3 miles was a long distance to walk. How will you get across the sea, up the path and along the chalky road? She asked. You're all alone. You're blind. The man looked stricken. Yes, I am. Are you a soldier? Asked Coco unexpectedly. The man hunkered against the tree. Why do you ask that? Well, you are a bit like a soldier. You have a soldier's blanket and soldier's boots, and once there were soldiers who slept a night in our village, and they spoke in a funny way, the same way that you do. It's called an accent, said Marcel with superiority. The man was fidgeting, casting his blind gaze about. The fascinating silver thing remained closed in his hand, gleamy as a fishhook, hidden as a jewel. He said, I am a soldier. Well, I used to be. I'm not one any more. Why not? Because you're blind? The soldier nodded wonkily. That must be the reason. We could help you go home, monsieur. Marcel stepped a little closer and nearer. You must come with us to our house. We will each hold one of your hands and guide you, and Papa will know how he can get you home, I'm sure. No, no, the soldier waved his arms. You can't tell anyone about me. You mustn't. The sisters were startled. Their eyes opened wide, but they were not afraid. Coco asked, why mustn't we? Okay. Because, why? Because the soldier looked helpless. His hands dropped in his lap. Because other people might not understand about John and his being ill and his calling for me feverishly at night. People might say I should go back to soldiering and forget about my brother since he's only a boy and sickly and since there's a war being fought. Just going to pause there for a second, okay? You can come back to this part of the text shortly. I'd like you to flick forward and just have a quick look at the next few questions, because these questions you might need to have a little think about and you might get some ideas as we read the next part of the text. So your task at the end of this, which you can pause whenever you want and do, asks you to answer these following questions. What is desertion? Why do you think the soldier kept his presence a secret? Should the girls tell someone or should they keep this secret to themselves? Give some reasons for your answer. Remember, you could PEE on that question, finding something from the text. And what advice would you give the girls in this situation? Okay, so bear that in mind as we read this next little part. I'm going back down to the 4th paragraph on page 19. The soldier seemed badly worried and was chewing his lip. Marcel, who had noticed many injustices in the world, thought he was probably right about what other people would say. No one seemed to care about anything except the dreary war. Nothing else appeared important anymore. At any rate, it suited her to keep the soldier a secret. It felt nice to know something that Pascal did not. Did you hear, Thérèse? She addressed her sister imperiously. Don't say a word to anybody, not even to Mama or Papa. I shan't, swore Coco regally, lifting her chin. Maybe you should run home, sighed the soldier, his fingers shifting over the beguiling object in his hand. Coco craned on tiptoes but couldn't see it properly. Maybe it would be best if you forgot about me. Marcel shook her head. There was no point having a secret if one promptly forgot about it. Then, recalling that the soldier couldn't see, she said, We won't tell anyone. We promise, monsieur. We can bring you food and something to drink. We have to go to school today, but we could bring you something afterwards. Bread and jam and some cognac or wine. Would you like that? In the past few days, the soldier had eaten just a handful of biscuits and had drunk only dew. He was, as a result, parched and famished. The promise of a decent meal made him feel boneless and weak. I am hungry, he admitted. I would like something to eat. Then we'll bring it, said Marcel. Later, after school, you lie in the shade and rest and wait for us to return. The soldier wiped his grimy face and smiled. Already his stomach was rumbling. He leaned against the tree trunk, bundled up against the cold. Remember, you must not tell anybody that I am here. And I'm going to stop there. It's not quite the end of the chapter, but I'd like you to go on to the task at the end of the slides and fill in the table answering those following questions based on what you have just heard. Good luck, everybody.